The greatest enemy in your life isn't out there. It's not the world, other people, or circumstances. The greatest enemy is you. Think about that for a moment. It's uncomfortable, isn't it? Admitting that, often, what stops us from moving forward isn't others, external difficulties, or the world's injustices, it's ourselves. This truth is harsh but liberating, because if the enemy is within, that means the power to defeat it is within as well. Now reflect, how many times have you put yourself down? How many times have you avoided trying something because you told yourself you weren't capable? How many opportunities have you missed because the fear of failure outweighed your desire to win? How many times have you given up before even taking the first step? These moments aren't definitive failures, they are mirrors. Mirrors reflecting how we are experts in sabotaging ourselves. We create excuses, doubt our abilities, and set limitations that don't truly exist, except in our minds. But here's the truth you need to hear today. Your greatest obstacle lies within you, and only you can overcome it. It's easier to blame the world, isn't it? It's simpler to believe that failure happened because of circumstances or because others had advantages you didn't. But deep down, we know this is a distraction. The greatest confrontation you'll face in life is with the reflection in the mirror. That reflection is your fiercest critic, the one that points out every flaw, insists on reminding you of your mistakes, and whispers that maybe it's better not to try at all. But it can also be your greatest ally if you allow it. Because, while it carries doubt, it also holds strength. While it questions, it also inspires. The choice of which voice to listen to is yours. Every time you say, "I'm not good enough, I don't have time," or "it's too late," it's like building a wall between you and your dreams. Each excuse is a brick, and the more you repeat these stories to yourself, the higher that wall becomes. But here's the good news. The same wall you built can be taken down, brick by brick, with action, courage, and determination. Imagine all the amazing things you could have accomplished if you'd ignored doubt, faced fear, and chosen to try. Think of all the times you gave up without realizing that the greatest adversary in that situation wasn't external, it was you. The world can't stop you, but you can. And at the same time, you can also be the person who chooses to move forward, even with fear, even with doubt. Recognizing that you are your greatest enemy might seem daunting, but it's the first step to freedom. Because if the obstacle is within you, the solution is too. No one can fight this battle for you, but no one can win it better than you can. What's at stake here isn't just what you want to achieve, but who you want to become. Today, you have a choice. You can keep letting fear, excuses, and doubts control your life. Or you can decide to face these internal enemies and show them what you're made of. Because, in the end, the greatest enemy isn't the one in front of you, it's the one you allow to live inside you. And the question is, are you willing to face it? The answer to that question can change everything. Every excuse you make, every opportunity you ignore, every day you choose not to act, all of these are blows you deliver against your own victory. The truth is, we are often the authors of our own limitations. It's not external circumstances, others, or difficulties that paralyze us, it's ourselves. It's the fear of failure, procrastination, and the excuses we create that keep us stagnant. Every time you say, "I can't do this, I'm not ready," or "I'm not good enough," you're laying another brick in the wall separating you from your victory. Self-sabotage is sneaky. It doesn't appear with a big warning, but instead has small thoughts and actions that seem harmless. It's that inner voice saying, "Leave it for tomorrow," or "This is too hard for you." It's the fear that makes you avoid opportunities and hide in the comfort of inaction. But here's the reality. It's not the world stopping you, it's you. Every time you procrastinate, every excuse you give to avoid taking action, you're delivering a defeat to your own potential. Procrastination is like an emotional debt that grows every day, accumulating frustration and regret. And the fear of failure, it's a tyrant that only holds power as long as you feed it with your paralysis. You're not defeated by your failures, you're defeated by your fear of failing. The fear of failure is one of the greatest enemies you'll face. It makes you doubt yourself before you even begin. It creates catastrophic scenarios in your mind where every attempt ends in humiliation or disaster. But here's the paradox. The true failure isn't failing, it's never trying. Think about all the times fear stopped you from taking action. Now ask yourself, what did I really lose? the opportunity to fail or the chance to win. Life isn't kind to those who play it safe. It rewards those who take risks, who face fear, and who try, even without guarantees. Failure is part of the growth process, but the fear of failure is what truly defeats you. As long as you blame the world out there, you'll never face the true enemy, the reflection in the mirror. It's easy to blame the world. It's easy to say you didn't have opportunities, that the circumstances were unfair, or that others had advantages you didn't. But as long as you keep blaming external factors, you're distracting yourself from the real problem, the barriers you create for yourself. Change only begins when you have the courage to look in the mirror and say, enough. Enough excuses, enough blaming others, enough hiding behind fear. The reflection in the mirror isn't your enemy, but it can be if you let it. It's time to turn that figure in the mirror into your greatest ally. Look at the barriers you've built and ask yourself, why am I allowing this to stop me? The answer to that question is the beginning of a great change. Because, in the end, you are the architect of your destiny and also the only one who can clear the path to it. You can't change what has already happened, but you can change what you do from now on. The question isn't who's stopping me, but how can I stop getting in my own way? Taking responsibility is the most liberating act you can do for yourself. It's when you stop looking for someone else to blame and accept that, while you can't control everything that happens, you have full control over how you choose to react. This realization separates those stuck in the past from those who decide to build a powerful future. Looking back, you might see mistakes, failures, and missed opportunities. But what does that mean now? You can't go back in time or erase what happened. The only thing that matters is what you do from this moment on. When you take responsibility for your life, something incredible happens. You realize the power has always been in your hands. Every excuse loses strength, every barrier starts to seem less insurmountable. The idea that other people or circumstances control your destiny disappears because you understand that you are the author of your story. Accepting this truth can feel uncomfortable at first. It means admitting that many of the things you want but haven't achieved depend more on your actions than on any other factor. But it also means you don't have to wait for anyone to change your life. You can start now. Often, we sabotage ourselves by asking the wrong questions. We get stuck in why did this happen to me, or who's holding me back. These questions keep us in a cycle of victimization, shifting focus away from what truly matters, how we can act. When you ask, how can I stop getting in my own way? You're acknowledging your responsibility for your choices and, more importantly, for your change. This question doesn't seek excuses, it seeks solutions. The power to overcome your fears, doubts, and limits lies in recognizing that they have no more strength than you allow. Your fears only have the power you give them. Your doubts grow only when you choose to feed them. Your limits often exist solely in your mind. When you understand this, you begin to see that you can change your relationship with these barriers. Imagine carrying a backpack full of stones. Each stone represents a doubt, an excuse, or a regret. With every step, the weight grows, and you feel more tired. But here's the secret. No one is forcing you to carry that backpack. You can take it off whenever you want. Taking responsibility is like removing that backpack. It's realizing that you no longer need to carry the weight of the past or the beliefs that limit your potential. You can leave them behind and move forward, lighter and stronger. Why is taking responsibility so powerful? Because it's the foundation of all transformation. Nothing changes until you do. And nothing changes for the better until you decide you deserve more than excuses, more than inertia, more than the limits you've created for yourself. Taking responsibility means accepting that no one is going to rescue you, but also that you don't need rescuing. Everything you need to win is already within you, waiting to be activated. You have the power to overcome your fears, doubts, and limitations. That power isn't in the world out there, it's within you. What you do from now on will define your future. And the question you must ask yourself is, am I ready to stop getting in my own way and become my greatest ally? The hardest battle is the one you fight with yourself. But it's also the most rewarding to win. The true enemy isn't out there, it's within you. It whispers words of doubt, feeds fear, and paralyzes with procrastination. It makes it seem like the entire world is against you when, in reality, the only obstacle you need to overcome is your own mind. But here's the truth. The internal enemy only dominates those who choose not to fight. This battle isn't easy. It's intimate, ongoing, and often solitary. But at the same time, it's the most powerful of all. Because, in winning it, you not only achieve your goals, you become someone stronger, more confident, more unstoppable. Fear has an important role in your life. It wants to protect you. But often, what it protects isn't your future, it's your comfort zone. It creates catastrophic scenarios in your mind, painting a picture of failure before you've even had the chance to try. But the secret to conquering fear isn't ignoring it, it's acknowledging it. Ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Why does this scare me so much? When you name your fear, it loses part of the power it has over you. Once you've acknowledged it, the only way to overcome it is to act. Don't wait for fear to disappear, it won't, but it diminishes when you face it, one step at a time. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to move forward despite it. Self-criticism is the enemy that lives in your mind, the one that says, "You're not good enough. You're not ready. What if I fail?" It feeds on your insecurities and amplifies your mistakes, making them seem bigger than they really are. But here's what you need to know. Self-criticism is just a voice and you have the power to silence it. When a sabotaging thought arises, immediately replace it with a positive affirmation. Just start, take the first step, no matter how small it seems. When you act, even imperfectly, you create momentum, and momentum makes the next step seem easier. Imagine pushing a stationary car. At first, it feels impossible to move. But once it starts to roll, the effort required decreases. That's how it is with your goals. The beginning may be tough, but consistency turns the impossible into the inevitable. Ask yourself, what can I do right now, in this moment, to move forward? Don't overcomplicate it. Choose something small and do it. Because every action counts, remember. This battle is ongoing, but each small victory reinforces your strength. When you face your fears, replace self-criticism with positive affirmations, and act even when you don't have all the answers. You begin to conquer the inner enemy. You become your greatest ally. And when that happens, no external barrier can defeat you. Facing the inner enemy requires courage, patience, and consistency. But it's the most important battle you'll face because it's the one that defines everything you can achieve. Stand up, face your fears, silence the doubt, and take action today. But if you want the power to win, the question is, are you willing to fight? No one can fight this battle for you. But the good news is that you have everything you need to win if you're willing to face yourself. The transformation you seek, in any aspect of your life, begins the moment you decide to face the mirror and admit, the change depends on me. That's the instant you stop waiting for something external to happen, for the world to adjust to your desires, or for someone to rescue you. It's when you understand that the power to change your reality isn't out there but within you. The greatest challenge in transformation isn't your surroundings or the people who doubt you. It's the internal battle against your fears, doubts, and limiting beliefs. Transformation begins when you stop running from yourself and decide to confront the barriers you've built over time. Barriers that might have been created by past experiences, words you've heard, or moments when you failed. These barriers seem insurmountable, but the truth is, they're not real, they're reflections of the fear you've cultivated. What you want is on the other side of the fear you've created. Cross that barrier. Transforming your life doesn't happen in a single moment, but the process begins with a decision. It's the decision to stop being the obstacle in your own path. It's the decision to become your greatest ally. This choice is powerful because it redefines your relationship with yourself. Instead of being the critic who always says, "You can't do it," you become the voice that says, "Let's try because we deserve it." Think about it. How many times have you been your greatest enemy? How many times have you given up before starting or quit halfway because the challenges seemed bigger than you? Now imagine how your life would be if you were the person who believed in you the most. Imagine if, instead of giving up, you were the one who always said, "I can overcome this." Often, we think we need more time, more money, more talent, more confidence. But the truth is, transformation doesn't wait for these external factors. You already have everything you need to start. You have determination, even if it's dormant. You have strength, even if you don't recognize it yet. And you have the power to change, even if fear tries to convince you otherwise. Transformation begins with what you have today, not with what you believe is missing. If you stop being your own enemy, no one will be able to defeat you. This phrase is a reminder that, often, the greatest force working against you is the doubt you feed. Stop focusing on what's wrong or what's missing. Start seeing what's possible. Every great change in history began with someone deciding it was time to act, even when circumstances weren't ideal. You can do the same. What do you really want? What's stopping you from achieving it? If the answer is fear, doubt, or uncertainty, then know that these are internal obstacles. And the good news is that you can overcome them. Start small. Choose a fear that has been holding you back and confront it. Take a step toward what seems intimidating. Every small advance strengthens your confidence and weakens the voice of the inner enemy. You have everything you need to start changing your life. The only person who can stop you from achieving what you want is you. And the only person who can ensure you win is also you. Today is the day to choose to be different. Today is the day to stop being your biggest obstacle and start being your greatest momentum. Transformation starts with you, and it starts now. Stand up, face the mirror, and say, "Today I stop being my greatest enemy and start being my greatest ally." There is no greater victory than overcoming yourself. The true opponent isn't the world, circumstances, or other people. It's the voice trying to convince you that you're not capable. It's the resistance that appears when you try to leave your comfort zone. It's the discouragement that shows up on hard days. But here's the truth. Within you is also the strength to defeat that opponent. Every time you choose to act, even with fear, every time you decide to believe in yourself, even amidst doubts, you strike a blow against the inner enemy. And with each small victory, you become stronger, more resilient, and more confident. The time has come to make a choice. Who will you be from now on? Will you keep hiding behind excuses, or will you stand up and face the challenges? Will you let fear dictate the rules, or will you use it as fuel to move forward? Stand up, straighten your posture, look at yourself and say, "Enough. Today I choose to be my greatest ally." This statement is more than words, it's a commitment to your future. It's the decision to leave behind the chains you created for yourself and start building a life driven by courage and action. Your greatest opponent is within you, but so is the strength to defeat it. Think of all the battles you faced. Some you lost, others you won, but in all of them, you learn it. Now, look at this internal battle and understand that it's the most important one of all. Because, in defeating yourself, you unlock the infinite potential that was waiting to be activated. This fight won't be easy, but it will be the most rewarding. Not because you've defeated the reflection in the mirror, but because you've turned that reflection into your greatest ally. And when you stop fighting against yourself and start fighting for yourself, the world doesn't stand a chance of stopping you. Today, make a commitment to yourself. Face the mirror and say, "I stop being my greatest enemy. From now on, I am my greatest ally. I deserve to win, and I'm willing to fight for it." Repeat these words every day until they become a part of who you are. Remember that transformation doesn't happen all at once. It's built with small steps, decisions, and daily actions. But each day you choose to fight, you get closer to victory. Life is waiting to see what you can achieve when you decide to stop limiting yourself. Fear, doubt, and excuses only have power if you allow them to. Today is the day to fight this battle and win it. Because in the end, it's not about who you've been until now. It's about who you choose to be from this moment forward. And you have everything you need to win.